What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I'm joined alongside my co-host, my partners in crime, Nate Green and Taylor Blake Ward. Nate, I'm going to forget about you for a minute here, just a minute, because Taylor's he's not really a guest anymore. He might as well be as part of the show. But Taylor, how you doing?
Hopefully the internet holds, and if that's the case, I'm doing all right. How about you boys?
I'm not doing too bad. Yeah, if the internet holds, sorry guys. If it doesn't, I mean, we've been off and on. We're trying to get this done for you. If for some reason it doesn't, Taylor has to turn off his camera. Then we'll make it work. But Taylor, before we get rolling, let everybody know where they can find you at Baseball America, the book, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, actually, before we had to move for the internet, I had the book in hand because I'm at my house finally. There you go. That's what the book looks like. Search of Millionaires: Life of Baseball Gypsy. You can find it on any book outlet, Amazon, etc. It's a life story of Bob Fontaine, scout that signed Tony Gwynn, Randy Johnson, Jim Abbott, among others. Ozzie Smith, and yeah, you can check out my work at the Sporting Tribune. Great stuff we got going on over there, and happy to start transitioning from hockey to baseball again, and of course, Baseball America, representing them and writing up some Angels side stuff for them, and it's been exciting.
Yeah, I saw you at a hockey game the other day. Were you on the ice or in the stands?
I'm an apparition, buddy.
Hmm, that's good. That's good. Wasn't sure. I saw Ward on the ice. I saw Ward in the stands. So just it is what it is. Sorry, I gotta have a little fun with that. Nate, how you doing?
Doing well. Good to be here. Good to see y'all. Good to see TBW.
Yeah, and talk a little international stuff. So before we get going here, guys, go ahead and follow us on all our social medias, X, Instagram, Facebook. Follow myself on X, Jared underscore Tim's Nate and Nate Green 34. Give us a minute here to pay the bills real quick. All right, international signing time, international signing bonus period, all that fun stuff. But I guess kind of bigger news that the Angels are not really involved in. Roki Sasaki, as of when we're recording this, it is Monday at about 7:15 PST. Hasn't signed yet. Obviously, this podcast can be coming out on a Wednesday, so something may have happened in there. But there are some ramifications in the Sasaki sweepstakes and things like that. We're seeing a lot of international players. Sign with different teams. We're seeing some big names go different places that a lot of people probably don't know about, but it is happening. It is happening. So first and foremost, how is this for Taylor? How is the Roki Sasaki market affecting this international signing period that happened today as you guys are watching this?
Oh, more so than just about anything. Even above what Shohei Ohtani was doing. Teams are pivoting all of their money to take on this talent. This is a kid that obviously is worth it, right? You have X amount in your bonus pool. You can trade for 60% more of your bonus pool, and teams are going to be using the entirety of that. So you can still sign players for under $10,000 or less, and it doesn't go towards your pool. But essentially, between the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, and the Padres, they're going to spend pretty close to not if the entirety of their bonus pool and whatever they can attain through trades. I think the Padres have a little over 10 million on that front. I think the Dodgers have a little over 8 million on that front. I haven't checked into the Blue Jays on that, but what it does is essentially the commitments that they had to these other incoming amateur talents, whether from Latin America or Japan or Asia and South America and other places. Um, they're just decommitting. Essentially, it's almost like telling a kid, "Hey, sorry, you weren't Roki Sasaki." So, and no one is. It's absolutely worth it. I think that's the thing that people are forgetting is that this guy is going to transcend. It could if you could add Paul Skeens in your organization for less than $10 million or around $10 million, you're going to do it. You're absolutely going to do it, and that's pretty much about as close of a comparison I can make to what this acquisition is going to be for one of three teams. But you're talking about for the Dodgers, $4 or $5 million worth of investments that are now complete free agents or could be switching whichever direction they're going to go. The Padre, it doesn't. Padres and Blue Jays, whoever signs him, essentially is going to lose all those guys that were committed. So you're talking about somewhere between 10 to 20 guys that they're making substantial money and are substantial prospects that are now going to be essentially free agents to a degree or or maybe they can convince them to move back 1 year. You never know. That's something that does happen in this industry. So it's going to be tricky to see what the final picture is for the 2025 international signing period is going to look like. But Roki Sasaki effect is in full effect. It's very interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know I was talking to you about this earlier today, but I would give up anybody not named Mike Trout for Roki Sasaki. And probably multiple of them too. I mean, you talk about Paul Skeens. I would give up multiple of whatever the Angels had for Paul Skeens as well. So there is that as well. So just want to throw that out there. Roki Sasaki question related to the Angels here. Do you think the Angels met with him?
I think there was some form of meeting. I don't believe it was an in-person meeting. But you're talking about like a talent like this. Every team is going to make an attempt, and especially a market like I know the Angels play in Anaheim, but a market like Los Angeles, of course they're going to make an attempt. And to my understanding, based on what I've heard from those that that are allowed to share their this kind of information, I believe there was at least some form of communication. I just don't know if it was an in-person meeting or not.
Yeah, I would agree. So I think what two-thirds of the league met, it wouldn't be smart for the Angels not to meet with him, even if it was just exchanging hellos. So, Nate, you got a question for Taylor about this?
No, no, we'll keep going. I think my question will come as we keep going with what the Angels are doing and things like that. So go ahead.
Sounds sounds good. Sounds good. So, as we all know, international signing period starts on Wednesday. The Angels have, I look at Taylor Blake Ward, how much money to spend in the international signing period?
As I should
Ooh, did
have
I
that right
beat
in
you?
front.
Did I beat you on that one?
You
Dang.
always do, man.
I got you. I got you.
Is
I
it 6.261 million?
it's definitely it's something in that range for sure. I
That's
know
actually I should know
I,
that off the
I
top of my
don't.
head. I know how much they have left, just not how much they have to start with, I guess.
I'm not gonna do the math on. I'm not doing the math on that one. I know. I get it. But the Angels
Uh,
have that amount, six point something million dollars to spend in the international side of stuff. They will sign. I look at Taylor Blake Ward. How many players?
18 as of this moment, and the Angels do have $6.2616 million in their
Perfect.
bonus pool. And as of this moment, late on Monday night, as the Rams were up 24-3 last time I checked, uh, they um, they are going to sign around 18 guys under what I have information wise.
Perfect. Yep. I also have 18 guys as well. So there is that too. Sidebar on all of this, it needs to be said, unless your name is Nelson Rada and the Angels may have somebody like Nelson Rada who moves through the rankings extremely quickly. We won't see any of these guys stateside until probably 2026, and we probably won't, see too much of these guys until 2028, maybe 2029, conversation wise at the major league level. Taylor, I know we were doing some digging. Why do you think that the Angels international signees have not, developed into what they could be? I mean, I think what did we do? We did the math on it, and there were five guys in the past 5 position players in the past 15 years or so to make their to sign with the Angels and also make their debut with the Angels. That's not pitchers. I mean, you've had guys like Jose Soriano, Jose Suarez, Jaime Barria who've signed with the Angels and made their debut, but it just seems like not a lot of international signees have been able to develop and make their way up. I mean, we've seen guys, Roberto Baldacchini, they spent a lot of money on. Kevin Maetan was the number one prospect in all of baseball, all of international baseball, for his for that year. So just want to get your thought on that, man.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about 16-year-olds. And realistically, you're talking about 14-year-olds when they kind of commit to playing this level. And if you look at any given Dominican affiliate over the last however many years, if you find a roster that has three major leaguers on it, that roster probably won a championship. It's pretty remarkable to see. We have a cat that's up in the garage right above us, so it was a very interesting deal. But you're talking about traversing, a standard development, especially for someone that's like a first round college player. You're talking about traversing four four levels of development, and when you're talking about this, you're talking about six different levels of development that you have to go through because you're not playing in the Trinity League in Southern California. You're not playing in the Pac-12 or the SEC. You're straight into pro ball, and if you go and look at if you were to compare what the Dominican Summer League is comparative to baseball, I think the Trinity League is actually a pretty good marker for it. You have guys that are 16 years old that can't throw above 87 miles per hour. And there's guys that don't have a single form of a breaking ball. There's guys that can hit a ball 500 feet, and there's guys that aren't strong enough to hit a ball 5 feet. And that's what, you have to fill your organization no matter what. And you think about this, the Angels this year, they have two guys that are going to sign for close to $1 million or over. And $900,000 spent in the draft. That's essentially a third round draft pick, and third round draft picks don't always turn into major league players. Even first round picks are sometimes challenging, and that's the thing is it's not necessarily that you're looking for impact because you obviously everyone's looking for an impact player, but realistically you're just looking for a major leaguer. And when you sign these guys, they're not going to have five tools. You're going to be lucky if you find one carrying major league tool. And if you find two, that's why these guys are making upwards of $500,000 when they sign. You find three carrying tools, you're talking about $1 million. And that's where it gets really interesting to see where these guys are. So, like you said, Jared, it's these are guys that are years away from doing it because they have to develop it. And when you asked about the Angel side of things, Angels struggled, particularly during the Baldachin years. They were limited financially, so they couldn't hit the top of the market. And when they did open the top of the market, it didn't go well. High-end athletes were the attempt, and Trent DeVoe was not necessarily even a baseball player as much as he was a track and field star. And Deshaun Knowles was very exciting, but I think his prospect status blossomed from elemental things, and I could probably take some blame on that as well, and I'm okay with that. But um, it's very isolated. If you go back and look across the board, I think Nate, you've talked about this a million times over. Jose Altuve signed for 10,000, Ronald Acuna signed for 50,000 or whatever it is, right? I don't remember the exact number, 100,000, I think, but it's not always the top of the market that blossoms because you talk about the difference between a 16-year-old and a 24-year-old and the same person. It's still going to be
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Taylor broke up there a little bit. Yeah, no, I mean it's been tough. It's definitely been tough. However, I want to kind of look at the bright side here. Brian Parker has done a fantastic job. I mean, you mentioned teams winning championships in the Dominican, and Angels haven't done that quite yet, but they've made it to the playoffs, I believe, 3 straight years now. They've had a record over 500 for 4 or 5 straight years, and we've talked about it multiple times on the podcast. When you start winning when you start developing well, you're going to be winning games. And the Angels have had one of the younger teams out there in the Dominican, and they've been able to win ball games. And hopefully that transitions into Arizona, into Inland Empire, into I mean even Double A, Triple A in the very near future. So just kind of got to tip the cap to Brian Parker and all the scouts internationally on that side of stuff because I thought they've done a very very good job of turning around one of the worst into a hopeful probable when it comes to the Angels farm system. And then Nate, you got any questions yet, man? Are you good? Sitting there
Yeah,
quiet.
no, we're good. We're good.
All right.
When we get through, just so the fans can kind of hear some more from Taylor. Um, you mentioned the Angels are signing 18. When are they typically signing these guys? Like they have deals with these guys year in advance, typically, right? Most of them, obviously, some of them it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah, the start of the market is I mean, legally they can't sign until
Of
there's all
course.
these verbal commitments. It's the same as college, it's the same as all kinds of things, right? But um legally they sign on January 15th. That's when the start of the 2025 signing period is or years before. Um the majority will sign within hours of the market opening. The Angels, I believe, if I'm remembering this right, I think they won basically, and one of those guys just came 2 months ago. So this market does last all the way up until December 15th. Does that sound right, Jared? It's like a month and a half before the next period would start. But yeah, they've got all year next year or all year this year to continue signing guys as long as the finances are there, and as long as the market is still within its place. So, no, I don't know if it's going to be exactly 18 as of quote unquote today because of when we're recording on Monday, but this is going to come out on Wednesday. So the Angels might have 18 new guys by the time you're listening to this. They might have 16, they might have 15, they might have 10, but 18 are the anticipated incoming class, just to start the market itself.
Yeah, I think I had Josue, I think is how you say his name, Demay, sign in November or December. So yeah, the signings can go, you know, all the way up to whenever, probably mid-December, I think is when it is. So
Yeah,
um,
it is mid-December because that's what they were waiting for with Sasaki to put him into the 2025
yeah,
class. Was they
yeah,
were waiting for December 15th.
yep. So Taylor, can you hear us still? I know your internet's going in and out. You good, man?
I got you. I had to shut off real quick to come back.
Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, let's just get on to these
Do you got
18. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
do you got me now?
Yeah, we'll
Yep,
roll
I
with
got
you
you.
off camera. Let's roll with you off camera for now because it's a little bit spotty. But let's get over these let's go over these 18 names real quick. And Taylor, if it's okay with you, mind giving a little bit of a scouting report on some of these guys, and then if it's also okay, if you got the figure, we can throw a figure out there. If not, not a big deal. So let's start with Gabriel Davalillo.
Yeah, Gabriel Davilio, Venezuelan catcher. When it comes to Venezuelan players in particular, I won't mention their financial status because of the political and safety state of the country. But some confidence that there's a kid that can stay behind the plate, offensive tools off the charts. Strong belief that he could hit for average, hit for maybe above average power. Hard to find this kind of rotational force, not only for a kid that's his age at 16, but also a catcher to at least say that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to say this enough. I think Davalillo is probably the best signing that the Angels have had uh in my time of doing this side of stuff. He's special. He really, really is. I think. Now a lot of things can happen, but yeah, I think he's a special offensive talent for sure. You don't see this all the time, especially at the age of 16. So, next one, Yilver De Paula.
Yeah, defense first, shortstop, straight out of Dominican, going to sign for a little under $1 million. Two-way guy has a chance to hit, but probably more of a doubles guy, and I wouldn't say a slash and dash kind of guy, but switch hitter, chance to hit for at least a little bit of average from both sides of the plate, sneak some power around. You're going to be focusing on the bat because this is a guy that could be an above average defender to a plus defender at shortstop. Already has an average, maybe an above average arm. Could be a future plus runner as well. So has all the physical tools. You're just trying to find a way to get the bat to catch up to what the defensive and physical tools are going to be.
Jose Santana.
Another Dominican shortstop. You're going to hear a lot about Dominican shortstops here. Actually, if you don't mind, I'm just going to rattle off just the next three. It's all Dominican shortstops at the top of the class. Jose Santana, tall, trim guy, moves well, needs to gain strength. Going to be able to stay up the middle. He's a line drive hitter, good athlete, and moves well on the dirt. Johansel Cabrera is going to be another Dominican shortstop. He's a little stronger than Santana, but an athletic kid. He's more power oriented, more of a guy that could move to third base. Pretty strong athletic frame. Probably an above average arm when all is said and done. That's going to keep him on the left side of the infield. But right now, even standing right now, it's probably average raw power, and seeing that for a kid that's 16, 17 is pretty impressive, especially from the left side of the plate. You're going to have Cesar Paredes, another Dominican shortstop. He's signing for a little under what Cabrera and Santana are, but they're going to sign for just under $500,000. Paredes, true athletic shortstop dude. middle infielder, just the dirt actions, the typical guy that you see. But he's a pretty good hitter right now. Um, Maybe slides a little ahead of the other guys, not financially, but prospects wise, just because of the hit ability, a little more interesting. But a right-handed hitter as well, and that's going to be the top of your classes. Is that trio of short, or actually the quartet of shortstops, along with Gabriel. So you're looking at the Dominican shortstop market. The Angels are really wrapping their head around it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll wrap these two here together as well that you can talk about. Junior Surial and Yelison Betances.
Yeah, both Dominican outfielders going to sign for around 300,000. Surial is athletic, right-handed hitter. Pretty good chance he's going to stay in center field. A little smaller side, but he can really hit. He can really run. He can really field. It's a good swing foundation. He's going to be 16 through pretty much the entirety of uh, of the DSL season. So one of the younger guys in the class. Yelinson Betances, another Dominican outfielder, athletic two-way guy. He's another guy needs to get stronger. He makes good contact. There's not a lot of swing and miss here. You're kind of projecting a little bit of the frame to hope into power and maybe get some strength on the body. It's a similar profile to Surial, but I think Betances is a tick taller and a little stronger, a little maybe not as pretty as Surial is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I like Suriel. I've seen a lot of video on him. I think that that's again a big bat that could definitely do some power. So I'll wrap these next four guys together as they're all pitchers. Alberto Morel, Freddie Hernandez, Felix Tapia, and Wilner. You get to say that last name because I'm not doing it.
Beruteran.
Pero Terran.
I'll start with
Yeah.
the Dominican guys. Albert Morel, going to sign around the same as the outfielders are. Tall, thin, projectable dude. Really of loose arm. Good fastball sitting in the upper 80s right now. And like you said, 16 years old. That's going to work. But 6'3", I believe, is what they have him listed as. Makings of a pretty decent breaking ball. So, and this is where the Angels love that market. They love their pitchers right around that 200 to 300,000 market. The other Dominican pitcher, right-handed pitcher, is going to be Felix Tapia. Similar profile to the Venezuelan kids I'm going to talk about. Athletic kid, fastball, just scrawny kid, And he's throwing 86, 88. Maybe not as good a fastball and as good maybe not as much projection as Morel, but still there's some exciting tools there. The other guys are going to be Venezuelan. You said Freddie Hernandez, right? Freddie Hernandez,
Freddie Hernandez.
lefty out of Venezuela. Like I said, I won't touch on the finances, but 6'1" kid. He's got the starter frame, starter actions. It's a little stronger, a little more athletic. He's been up to 92, sitting 88 to 90. Kind of flashes all three pitches, and when I say that, it means he's at least shown the form of all three pitches and kind of the ability to locate them as well. So really interesting left-handed starter that they're bringing in there. Probably one of the more undersold guys, and Wilner Berotanen, another tall guy, up to 92. I think he's 6'4", 6'5", real big kid. Like I said, up to 92, the fastball is good. A decent athlete. He has the makings of a slider, so definitely a guy that you're going to see start in development down there. But when all is said and done, likely a reliever, but has a chance at some power while being a reliever as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I got another name here for you out of Cuba, Anthony Santa Cruz. I know you probably got a pretty good report here.
Yeah, Anthony is one that's been on my radar for a long time. Compliments Francis Romero, of course. Francis Romero is a fantastic Cuban guy. Won't go into the finances, but left-handed hitter. Probably a corner outfielder, maybe get some time at first base. He's a good athlete, but kind of a chunker is, I guess, the way I would put it. But power profile, real interesting bat, chance to hit. He's going to play as an 18-year-old. He's going to be one of the older signs, and it sounds like he might start in the DSL, but I wouldn't be surprised if he came stateside a little early.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna wrap these next six guys here together. Steven Cabrera, Juan Jordan, Javier Rodriguez, Diego Rondon, Miguel Liendo, and Sebastian Caceres. You got any names there that you like, or any reports that are looking good?
Yeah, Striven Cabreras is an interesting right-hander for the Dominican. Got aside for around 100,000, up to 92. Once again, best 6'4" athletic guy, real projectable. Doesn't really have a secondary pitch. The rest of those guys are going to be I guess what we call lesser tier, non 6 digit bonus kids is what I would go with. But all of them have something to at least take themselves into Pro Bowl. I guess Diego Rondon is a guy. It's a bad over defense, left handed catcher. But I do like him. A lot of athleticism is what they're focusing on, especially on the mound. In particular, as athletes on the mound, but still pretty exciting. Um, and yeah, it's going to be a fun class come Wednesday.
All right. Well, Nate, I know you got a couple questions here. You've been quiet, which is I'm kind of scared for future podcasts since you've been so quiet in this one, but I know you got at least a couple questions that we talked about off the record for Taylor. So go ahead. What do you got for him?
Yeah, it'll come out in a couple episodes. Don't worry. Um, TBW. So they've mentioned that Sasaki could be signing with the Padres or Dodgers, and the Dodgers, of course, deferring their international free agents to another year is what they're hoping. Odds the Angels sneak in and try and get one of those guys, depending on how much money they have left, and do any of those guys fit what the Angels are looking for?
I'd have to take a longer look, but I think realistically, the Angels have about 125,000 left in their bonus pool. So if you're talking about the top of the market, the guys that are going to be going for 500,000 or more, probably not. Probably not. And also, you want to save that money. You know, not that I think Edgar Caro signed for 220,000, but he signed in like February or March, and you want to save that money for guys like that. So it could be that one of those guys is that guy, right? It could be, an Edgar Caro, someone like him is going to go sign with the Padres, and Sasaki goes to the Padres or Dodgers or vice versa, whatever it is, right? But I think realistically, financially, I don't think the Angels would be in on being able to take on one of the higher end guys. They'd have to trade money for it. But the same could be said, at some point, um, these teams that are signing guys that the Padres and the Dodgers and the Blue Jays, uh, they've got to do it, and they can't just tell these guys, "Hey, we'll see you next year." It's like a lot of these kids aren't going to buy into that, which is perfectly fine. I think the kids have every right to do that. They've been committed to this team since they were 14, and suddenly they're showed the door. And I mean, business wise, yes, Roki Sasaki is worth showing the door to these kids, right? It's a business, but these kids have every right to do whatever they want, and we've already seen it. Some of the Dodgers kids, I think, have moved on to the White Sox. I think some have moved on to the Braves, I believe, if I'm remembering this right. Um, and like I said, we're still recording on Monday night, but it's maybe a little more unique that it is Dodgers guys that are signing elsewhere. Um, you know, I don't think the Dodgers are aware of anything that the Padres or Blue Jays are not, because they would have said something by this point. Either of those teams would have said something by this point. But uh, it's a good question, Nate. It's a really good question. And I'm a little disappointed in you for not pissing me off this one. So
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd have something good for me, but no, it's I just don't think in the Angels scenario they would have the capital to take away one of these quote unquote higher end prospects. It's probably it could be someone that's a $100,000 signing, which is still a 6 digit bonus. But I couldn't tell you who or what, and realistically, I don't think the Angels are in that position.
And they wouldn't go back to a couple years back where they would tell some guys, you know what, we're not going to sign you. I know we promised to sign you a couple years ago or whatever, and they renege on that. Correct? They're not in that spot because they have kind of the same regime, and it's kind of the same guys who have been
I wouldn't
linked to these guys for.
I wouldn't expect it. A lot was made about that whole thing,
Of
which
course, it happens everywhere.
it happens every year with every team. I mean, look at the Dodgers right now, and look at
Mhm.
the Padres and Blue Jays. If they sit there and tell 20 guys they're not going to sign them, you can't imagine there's going to be a lawsuit somewhere involved in that. There, the media ran with that story, and it was another one that was against the Angels. It just so happened it was the Angels, right? But it happens every year. Of course they could. They absolutely could. We mentioned what 18 guys, and a lot of them are signing for some substantial money, but you dump three of those contracts, you open up $1 million possibly, right? And suddenly you're looking at 1.1 million that you can sign guys for. Because I think if you're looking at the bulk of what I understand for this year, is there are about 60 guys that are going to sign for about 8 to 900,000 or more. You figure 30 clubs, that's one, two guys pretty much each club essentially. So yeah, you can find the finances to get definitely one of the quote unquote top 50 guys in the class. And you'd be spending like I was mentioning, you'd be spending money that is equivalent to third round domestic draft money to a degree, or second round domestic draft money, and that's kind of the projection that you're going to be putting on these kids is, there's a guy I said that he's going to sign for just under 100 or just under a million, right? Yover DePaul is going to sign for just under. Look in the draft and look at the high school kids that signed for just under that, see where they went and see the success rate of them. And I bet you it's a 1-3 or a 2-5 kind of thing to have an impactful or successful career. And that's the reality of it. So just because you sign a guy for $1 million or $2 million, you still got to get the whole work process to connect. And as exciting as this is, and you really hope, especially for these international kids, because there's a lot of things that go on in the United States that you have a lot to be thankful for. And not that the Dominican Republic or Venezuela or anywhere is a bad place, but they don't have the same kind of trying to think of the right words, but either way, it's they don't have those same kind of assets that we do here in the United States. So seeing kids from the Dominican or Venezuela or Taiwan or wherever, Cuba, Haiti, Honduras, et cetera, Colombia, Curacao, Aruba, everywhere, right? You want to see those kids succeed because they came from pretty little, most of them, not all of them, but the majority of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me touch on the Cuban side of stuff too. Because a lot of times you get a group of guys from Cuba that aren't able to sign right now, and we will get a couple names, in 2 months from now, right before the season starts, where I think Edgar Caro is that case where the Angels signed him 2 or 3 months after because he wasn't legally able to sign with the Angels during that time, during the January 15th, if that's when it was, signing period. So yeah, there's always that group of I don't want to like single them out, but it's almost like the group of Cubans that come over and that can sign legally about a month or two from now. So yeah, it's always good to leave money open. The Angels, I think, have done. I feel like they've done that almost every single time is they've done very well in the Cuban market of late. It seems like to me. So
Keep
don't
in
know.
mind, keep in mind with that, when they leave Cuba, sometimes it's not known where they are for a substantial amount of time. Whether they land in Haiti or Miami. If it's Miami, it's a little different because you know where you are, but they still have to be declared free agents by Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball still has to, so Major League Baseball has to know where they are, and the teams have to know where they are to go sign them and get all the work set. So Cuba's a little tough. Cuba's definitely tough. It's always been that way. Cuba's, I mean, it's improving, no doubt. Cuba and everything that's going on there is improving or has been, but it's still very hard. A kid leaves Cuba, he's not heard of for 9 months. There's a reason for it, and it's his own protection, and also he has to find a place to live, to start working out, and start getting teams to notice him, and then he has to go through the whole process of becoming an MLB free agent as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a there's a show. Last thing here, there's a show that came out about Yasiel Puig. That was really good to go watch because it showed his transition. I think he went to like Mexico or something like that, and it's not the same as that, but it's very very similar to that. So a good documentary to go watch on Yasiel Puig. So a lot of that being said, Taylor, thanks for jumping on and talking with us, man. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, sure thing. Nate, I'm waiting, man. Give me something.
We'll get it.
Nope, not this time.
Give me
We'll get
something, buddy.
we'll
Not
get
this time.
Taylor on again when there's more next time Angel signs somebody, because I'm sure Nate will love the next signing that happens if it ever happens. We'll get Taylor on
We
so
could
that
just get them on when they're 15 and 45, and
Oh,
we
there we
could
go.
talk about it.
There
Oh
we go.
goodness.
There it is.
It'd be a good time.
I
All
see.
right.
I wanted the Angels to sign Roki Sasaki to see Nate's reaction.
It would have been good.
Be like, his
It
arm's
would have
gonna
been
fall
great.
off. The Earth's
No,
gonna,
no,
the world's gonna end.
it would be a good signing, but it's
Sas-
just not going to happen because,
Sasaki
what he
sign.
said he wanted doesn't line up with what the Angels have. And like, let's just, if we're
You done it,
realistic with what
Taylor.
it
I
is.
gotta mess with him, man. I gotta mess
I
with
mean,
him.
like, he said he wanted to go a good pitching org, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, well, that kind of knocks us out. Well, we can move on. We don't have to worry about wasting our international money there.
Jared literally fell out of his chair.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Taylor, you're coming on next time the Angel signs somebody, all right?
Fair enough, man.
Cool.
Corey
See you in
Holland.
2026.
Corey Holland.
There it is.
Connor Brogdon.
Yeah, that's
All
right.
right. All right, Taylor, before we let you go and let everybody go, let them know where they can find you again, all your work, all the fun stuff.
Yeah, you guys can find me on social at Taylor Blake Ward, and follow my work at the Sporting Tribune, www.thesportingtribune.com, and also Baseball America, Angels correspondent for Baseball America. Real excited about that. I have a story coming out in the coming weeks about it translates to what we're talking about right now is a $10,000 signing that happened in November for the period that started that January. So, and now he's a top 30 prospect, exciting arm. So, sometimes it gets pretty fun.
Might get a spring training invite.
I can't.
I don't know.
You're gonna have to read the article.
Don't know. Might get a spring training invite. Don't want to give anything away there, but yeah, no, I mean that's yeah, absolutely. Go follow him. Go make sure you read all his stories on Baseball America, Sporting Tribune. Go follow them as well if you haven't. Thanks for pouring gas on the fire here, Taylor. Really do appreciate it. And stirring the pot around a little bit. So. For all of us here at Talking Halos, go ahead and follow us on all our social medias, X, Instagram, Facebook. You can follow myself on X, Jared _ Tim's Nate Green 34. Guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. Have a great rest of your day.